All right, guys, have I mentioned that Ron DeSantis is the most effective governor in this country? Okay, in regards to pushing the conservative agenda, he is by far the most effective, and it's not even close. He may be one of the most effective that we've ever seen. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, oh, well, Ron DeSantis, he's deep state, right? He's deep state. He's a part of the establishment. And all I got to say about that is that I don't know, right? As of right now, that stuff will be debated and figured out, hopefully during the primary, in which it looks like Ron DeSantis is basically going to run. Okay, so we will figure that out. As of right now, what I do know is that this guy is, again, the most effective conservative governor in this country. Okay, the guy is leading in the mold of a modern day Theodore Roosevelt, right? I'm so serious. Okay, Ron DeSantis really reminds me of Theodore Roosevelt and how he was not afraid, even as a conservative, to weaponize the government in the public's best interest. Okay, in Theodore Roosevelt's case, he was known as a trust buster, even though some people say he wasn't really a trust buster, at least not as much as his successor, William Taft. But he did revive the defunct Sherman Antitrust Act and use his power to break up Northern Securities, okay, which was a railroad company that had accumulated enormous amount of power. Okay, now Ron DeSantis is weaponizing the government, kind of in the same mold, right? As he is saying, look, you cannot indoctrinate children in the state of Florida, okay, and if you do, we're going to levy the power of the government against you. Now, I want to talk about this because this right here brings up an interesting conversation in regards to criticisms of DeSantis and what he's doing, right? Is what he's doing actually really conservative, or is he being authoritarian? And I want to address that because I think that what Ron DeSantis is doing in 2023 is effectively the only thing you can do if you actually really want to push back, okay? Because the left is not afraid to weaponize the government to push their agenda, and conservatives should not be afraid to do that either, right? Because if you don't, then you're just going to lose, right? So DeSantis is basically willing to do what he needs to do in order to try to win the culture, right? So with that being said, let's read a little bit here about what Ron DeSantis is doing to Hyatt Regency in Miami for hosting a drag queen show Christmas for children, right? A drag queen Christmas for children. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's read here. The DeSantis administration is revoking the Hyatt Regency Miami's alcohol license after one of its facilities hosted, quote, a drag queen Christmas with minors present in the audience. The Department of Business and Professional Regulation filed a 17-page complaint Tuesday against the show's venue, the James L. Knight Center, which is affiliated with Hyatt. The show required people under 18 to be accompanied by an adult as a condition of being allowed to attend. They shouldn't even be allowed to attend if they're accompanied with an adult because, again, would these people be cool with allowing kids into strip clubs with an adult, right? I would think that the strip club probably should not be okay with that. But then again, I'm starting to believe that that question might backfire when asked towards the left because, I mean, I think they're just into that now, right? I think they're just like totally fine with kids being exposed to sexual stuff, right? It's just normal for them. They really don't care. So they might be totally fine with that, right? But I don't think that minors should be allowed in these type of venues at all when they're hosting these types of shows, these adult shows, period, even if they're with an adult, okay? Because clearly not all parents are responsible and competent enough to raise children the right way, right? To not expose them to this type of degeneracy, okay? Quote, a drag queen Christmas is a holiday-themed drag show that tours in 36 different cities and features stars from the reality show, quote, RuPaul's Drag Race. The state business department accused the facility of several violations, including a prohibition of lascivious exhibition before people younger than 16, though it's not clear to what extent this law is generally enforced. The department said performers were wearing sexually suggestive clothing and prosthetic female genitalia as well as stimulating masturbation. Now, prosthetic female genitalia. What is that? Is that breast or is that vagina? Right? Again, probably both, right? Considering how these shows operate and function. And they're also doing stimulating masturbation in front of kids. Democrats and liberals think that this is fine, right? They're okay with it. This is cool. This makes sense. Okay? Ron DeSantis has been authoritarian for not allowing this to happen. He's been authoritarian for pulling porn off the bookshelves in school. He's authoritarian for that. This is what the left thinks should be allowed. This is what they think we should be doing. Again, while at the same time promoting this type of stuff to kids, right? Pushing this on children, pushing these books in school, encouraging teachers to have conversations with kids that are sexual in nature. And you think that the way you're going to stop this is by just saying, don't do that, right? Please don't do that. Don't, right? No, you're not going to stop it by doing that because these people don't give a damn about you saying no, right? What they respond to is power and force. Okay, this is what they respond to. Seriously. They are going into the classrooms. They are exposing kids to these drag shows. They're exposing kids to this stuff as a way to get them on board with left-wing, liberal / Democrat ideology. Now, I don't want to believe that Democrats are for this, right? I want to believe there are decent Democrats out there, right, who have at least a semblance of a moral compass that is against this. But quite honestly, looking at the Democrat Party at the federal level and at the local level, particularly in some of these big liberal cities, I can't tell, right? I think that most Democrats are totally fine with this type of stuff. They think this is totally fine and cool to have adult content on bookshelves in kids' schools and for kids to go to these male strip shows, right? They think that's totally fine. Now, I'm trying to figure out why Democrats are like this, right? Like, what can make you support something like this to say, oh, this is totally fine and cool? Either they actually believe it, right, which I hope they don't, or they're afraid of being called transphobic and they want to vote. Probably both, right? Probably both. They probably actually do believe it and they're afraid of being called transphobic and they want the vote, okay? But what the Democrats don't understand is that this agenda, this far left extremism, because that is what this is ultimately going to be the Achilles heel of their party, okay? Because I believe that most decent liberals in this country are not for this. They should not be for this. That's what I want to believe. Maybe I'm naive, but I hope to believe that, hey, this is the crossing point where you're like, nah, like we can't have this. Like, you can't have, kids going to the drag shows, right? Going to male strip shows. Like, what is that? You can't have kids getting indoctrinated in school, having sexual conversations with teachers. Again, what parent in America would be for that? What decent one? But then again, you never know with these liberal people, right? Liberalism is getting more extreme by the day, okay? Even the ones that's supposed to be decent. You got to question some of the morals, right? You got to question some of the morals. So let's continue to read here. Hyatt Regency Miami is allowed to keep selling alcohol until the department makes a final decision. The business has 21 days to request a hearing. Beth Panel, spokeswoman for the department, told Insider. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, who is widely considered to be mounting a presidential campaign in 2024, supported the license revocation. Quote, sexually explicit content is not appropriate to display to children, and doing so violates Florida law. Brian Griffin, DeSantis' press secretary, told Insider. Quote, Governor DeSantis stands up for the innocence of children in the classroom and throughout Florida. Equality Florida, an LGBTQ rights organization, accused DeSantis of selectively weaponizing state agencies against businesses to target drag performances, saying such decisions should be left to parents. Nah, I don't think so, right? I don't think so. Should a parent's decision to allow their child to smoke or to drink or, to do drugs or to do all types of other stuff that is normally prohibited for kids to do, should that be left up to the parents, right? Should we allow that? Should we allow incompetent parents to be incompetent and to raise their kids in screwed up ways? That's a genuine question, because there's a libertarian angle here and there's a conservative angle. I think the conservative angle is no, right? That's the answer. The libertarian angle is, or the pure libertarian angle is, yeah, sure, right? Who cares, right? It's parents, their kids, is none of my business. Now, I am a none of my business type of guy when it comes to adults. This is why I say when it comes to adults, generally, I am a libertarian, okay? Now, again, I'm not, super libertarian, but I'm pretty libertarian for the most part when it comes to adults. Live your life to the fullest extent. Do whatever makes you happy as long as it doesn't involve harming somebody or their children, right? Or trying to push your ideology, sexual ideology or agenda on kids, okay? That is a line crosser. None of these issues were issues until they started doing that, right? They say, oh, this is hate and bigotry towards LGBTQ. And it's like, okay, well, where was all this hate and bigotry before it got to this point, right? Before stuff like this started happening. Wasn't there, right? It's still not hate and bigotry towards them. It's really just hate and bigotry towards trying to push your ideology on kids, right? That is where the criticism comes from. These people think criticism is hate. Criticism is not hate. Criticism is debate, right? It is debate in a public forum, and they don't want to do that because they know that this is a losing issue. They default to it's hate because they don't want to have the real conversation in public because they know that the average normal person is not going to go along with this stuff. They know that this is wrong. This is downright creepy in some instances. It's a problem. So Ron DeSantis, again, is doing what you only can do when you're trying to push back against this. You have to use the government, right? Because if you just try to libertarian your way through it, you're going to lose. You're going to lose the culture war. The reason why kids are the main target for the woke propaganda is because they know if they indoctrinate children, if they can ideologically influence children, those are future voters for the Democrat Party. Those are future liberals. Those are future progressives. And they're going to take the country in the way that they want the country to go. This is why you cannot fight fair. You can't fight fair on this battleground, right? If you're going to play dirty, you got to play dirty in this arena right here. Because children are the future of this country. And if you're not willing to do anything for your children, then you're prepared to lose. You're almost certainly going to lose because they're willing to do anything, right? They're willing to do anything. There's no tactic that is not under consideration from the left. That's the reality of the situation. That's the reality of what's going on here. So all the people that screaming at DeSantis about, oh, well, he's using a big government, this is not conservative, you're going to lay over and lose, right? That's what's going to happen. Quote, how far will he take this anti-LGBTQ crusade in his desperate attempt to outrace his inevitable presidential primary opponents? Will he raid movie theaters because parents take their teenagers to see R-rated movies? Will he punish electronic stores because parents buy their children certain video games? How many businesses will DeSantis target? How many families will he force to co-parent with the government in his quest to manufacture right-wing hysteria that he can monetize and weaponize? Asked Brandon Wolf, spokesman for the group. Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure if I'm seeing any penises at an R-rated movie, right? Or just, flat out, sex shows, okay? Now, you might see some sex. You might see some boobs. But you're not going to be seeing many penises, okay? I think that what some of these kids have been exposed to at these drag shows is just in the realm of just adult content, right? Like, I'm talking about like porn, okay? That's what it's in the realm of, right? I mean, there's a step, right? There's a gap between that X-rated content and R-rated movies. So you guys know the gist of what's going on here from a legislative perspective. Now, Hyatt getting their liquor license revoked, if it actually goes through, is basically a nuke for them, right? It's a nuke for their business. Miami, right before spring break, right? Springtime, summertime. Wow, Ron DeSantis really dropped the hammer, okay? He made an example out of them. Made an example out of them. Probably going to destroy their business because people are not going to want to book a hotel there if they don't sell alcohol, right? They may not be able to actually make a profit from their restaurant or selling food if they don't have alcohol, right? That a hotel instantly becomes less attractive if they can't sell alcohol, right? They can't have alcohol there. That's a problem, okay? Ron DeSantis literally just put a business out of business, or possibly put them out of business, because they decided that, hey, having kids at drag shows was worth it, right? Hosting drag shows was worth it. That's how you send a message to these businesses. That's how you stop it. Now, again, if you want to have drag shows with 18 plus, nobody has a problem, right? Nobody has a problem with that. But out in public and businesses and stuff like that, not sure if that's appropriate, right? Not sure if we should be doing that. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.